I wish I'd known him.
He was the best star pilot in the galaxy, and a cunning warrior. And he was a good friend. Which reminds me.
I don't know, Seth.
Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is going to be another episode of Your Questions Answered. First, shout out to Playmation for that beautiful intro. As a fan of Friends and a fan of Star Wars, that thing was pretty incredible. But you guys know what it is. If you want to see one of your questions answered in one of these videos, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure it is literally related to anything, I guess, at this point. Try to have an emphasis, though, on Lego Star Wars, and then check back next week to see if you made the cut. I am also still accepting custom intros, so if you have anything creative you would like to contribute, like Playmation did at the beginning of this video, please send it to me. We've had a nice little streak of these intros, and I want to keep it going, but I need you guys' help. So make it happen. First question today comes from General Grievous. He says, "Hey Jay, have you seen any AV Figures clones? They do realistic printed and decaled clones and other figures which can blend in with the rest of the clones as they have the same helmet mold." So I have seen AV Figures, and from what I've seen, I've been pretty impressed with, but I haven't looked too in depth to it. So I actually wanted to take a little moment of this video to actually go to their website and see what they have to offer. So here I am on the AV Figures website, and I think initially my predisposition tells me I would probably not want to get decaled figures. Like, they look pretty good, but the printing is definitely the way I would want to go. So I click over to their printed figures section, and they got some cool printed arms. I mean, Firestar does those too, and I love them, so I think it's cool that AV offers those as well. They have a printed clone head, which is kind of interesting. Is that boy Fives? Holy crap, I didn't even know that. That's pretty cool. But you can see all the actual figures are sold out, and that is very, very unfortunate. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to assume that this is not always or even usually the case. Maybe I just caught them at a bad time. Who knows? But if you're in a position where you just really want to army build, right? Like, I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to buy? They don't have any of the figures in stock. So if I go back and I'm like, okay, like maybe I'll just decal the figures, because they say it's the cheapest way to build your army, which is awesome. You don't want to spend too much money on these figures. So they have like a DIY pack for 11 bucks. Fortunately, it's also sold out. That kind of sucks. 11 bucks for a decaled clone actually doesn't sound that bad. I mean, it's not ideal. Like, that's still, you know, $4 less than what you might pay for a battle pack, but for some of the other like prices, you might have to pay like 25 to 30 figures for some nicely detailed clones. I think this is definitely a viable option whenever they actually have figures in stock. I think for me, what it comes down to though is I'm not in a position where I really need to buy a bunch of custom clones. Like, I think I would see using AV as a solution to getting maybe some of the named clones, the ones that Lego probably just aren't going to make, like the specific 501st troops. But I don't know if I would actually rely on something like this to build an army. I'm not saying that you ought not to. I'm just saying, me personally as a builder, I would rather wait for Lego to just put out a battle pack at some point. Because at the end of the day, the Lego version is the one that I will probably prefer the most when it comes to standard troopers. So that's just kind of the way I approach collecting. I'm not trying to down AV or anything. Like, clearly they have quality stuff. I don't think that's debatable at all. But just from my perspective, like, rather than spending like 11 bucks for a clone, I would rather just wait for like the battle pack, which is happening. We're actually getting a 501st battle pack, so that's actually not a bad idea. With Clone Wars having a resurgence, this is probably the best time for you to be like looking for Lego to actually put out clones. So that's just how I look at it. Next question comes from Credit Builds. He says, question for your Star Wars minifig wall. When you just started out, did you take minifigs from sets you already had, or did you start from complete scratch? I took the minifigs from the sets I had. I think I had around 60% or 70% of the figures that existed at the time, which sounds like a lot. Like, you might think if you had that many to start off with, then maybe why aren't you further along with the process now? Like, I think I maybe am slightly under 90% of total figures now, but they just put out a lot more figures now. Like it's kind of getting out of hand. I think when I first started, there were around 800 or so Lego Star Wars minifigs, and I think right now there's like 1,100. So that's almost 300 new figures they've added. That, I mean, I've been buying them, I've been keeping up with them, but it's not like I started at 60% and then I was able to just move to a static goal. It's like a moving goal when you're collecting these minifigures. I do still have some sets that I haven't taken the minifigures from, like I have the UCS Sandcrawler and Ewok Village that both have a ton of unique figures I actually need to get from those sets. That'll probably be a special minifig wall video where I actually go through and probably even build those sets, because I mean, I'd like to build them. Next question comes from Battle Droid Commander Karam. He says, question, are you looking forward to building a separatist droid army for the separatist? Great question, and I actually really wanted to answer this because I think it's kind of going under the radar that the 501st Battle Pack that's coming out comes with 2 battle droids. And if you're planning on building a clone army, I think it's pretty awesome that you're also going to build your droid army in conjunction with it. I think a lot of people look at the battle pack as just 4 figures, 4 clones, and you're like, oh, like I want those clones. And that honestly like makes some people irrationally look at the price. They don't look at the builds you're getting with it, or even the 2 battle droids you're getting with it. But that's actually a big deal. It's been a while since we've gotten a cheap way to get droids in any capacity when it comes to Lego. So I think the fact that they have the droids in the 501st Battle Pack is awesome to me, and I can't wait to be building my droid army in conjunction with my 501st army. That's probably one of my favorite parts about the set. Next question comes from GDog29. He says, will you ever do Star Wars Battlefront 2 mocks? I would love to see a cool Agent Kloss mock. Do I have some news for you? I've probably made the biggest Battlefront 2 mock. If you go check out my Vardos mock, it was from the campaign of Battlefront 2, and I think it's pretty incredible. That's definitely one of my favorite large-scale mocks that I've done. As far as I know, that's probably the biggest, like, specifically Battlefront 2 mock out there. If anyone knows of any other ones, please let me know. Outside of that, Battlefront 2 has been really integral to me building any of my location mocks. Like even with Starkiller, this room, like a lot of the reference I got from it was from Battlefront 2, the cafeteria, Battlefront 2. Like Battlefront 2 has just been so useful with building mocks. Like when it came to Crate, especially Crate. Oh my god, it was so useful with Crate, and even with Starkiller. Like, shout out to Battlefront 2. If you have it and you just need mock inspiration, just go pick up Battlefront 2 and play anything. I'm sure you'll see something that you might like to build. Next question comes from Alex McBrick. He says, thanks for answering my question, Jay. I'll just have to figure it out myself. Sorry, man. This question might be a bit personal, but what's the day-to-day life of a young boyo look like? Is it just building Starkiller for 24 hours straight, or is there variety in your day? Quarantine has obviously given me an opportunity to work on more of my projects like Starkiller, like YouTube. So usually I'll wake up, do all that morning routine stuff. And then I'm thinking, what video am I going to make today? I usually have a pretty straightforward schedule. Usually at the beginning of the week, I'll write down each video I'm going to make, and then if some news pops up, then I'll just do that video and adjust my schedule accordingly. Like yesterday, for example, I was supposed to be putting out a minifig wall update, and I recorded it, and like as I was about to upload it, we got the news about the 501st Battle Pack being potentially delayed in the United States, which sucked, but I was like, that's an important video. I'll make that video, and I'll push back the minifig wall update. But yeah, I'll pretty much just decide what video I'm going to make. I've actually been starting to go outside and play basketball more. I'm just trying to get more active, so that's usually what I'll do. Like in the morning, I'll come back in, I'll maybe get something to eat, I'll make whatever video I plan on doing. After that, it might just depend on what I do next. Like I'll try to get some building in. Sometimes I might just chill, watch videos, whatever. Hop on Discord. If I'm streaming, I know that's going to be most of the day affair. So I set aside a decent amount of time for that. And I try to get done whatever errands I need to get done before then. But there's really not much to it other than that. I feel like I spend so much time online. You guys see a big portion of my day with these daily videos that I put out. If there's a day where I just don't put out a video, I usually try to use that time effectively. Like I like building in long stretches. Like I don't like just working on something like for an hour here or 2 hours there. Like if I'm building, I really want to get the creative juices flowing. So I'm like, I need like a 5 or 6 window to really like work on and design something. So like if I have a whole day where I'm not doing a video or anything like that, I'll try to use that time to really get done a lot of building. Next question comes from Alec Lebuis. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. He says, question for the next video, where do you see you and your channel in 1 year or even 5 years? What do you hope to accomplish by then, mock-wise or YouTube-wise? Mock-wise, I'm pretty happy with where I'm going. In 5 years, oh my God, I like to say these mocks, depending on the size, maybe take me like 8 months to a year to finish. So 5 years from now, I hope to have 5 large-scale mocks under my belt. That's just kind of the lifestyle I live at this point. YouTube-wise, I mean, I'd like to just continue growing my channel, getting more subscribers, obviously growing the community. If I could hit 100,000 subscribers, that would be incredible. Like, that's a really big milestone for me, and getting that YouTube plaque would mean a lot to me. That would actually mean the world to me. So that's one of my biggest goals with YouTube. I just hit 30,000 with a little over 2 years of being super active. So I think 100K is absolutely attainable within the next 5 years. Next question comes from Stormtrooper Lego. He says, question, if you had to buy pieces from somewhere that isn't Bricklink, Brickset, etc., where would you buy them from? So here's pretty much the hierarchy of how I get pieces. Bricklink is number one. I'm always ordering from Bricklink. Number two would probably be the Lego store Pick-a-Brick wall, which isn't really an option right now, obviously. But during normal times, this is where I would go. Next is probably the Lego Pick-a-Brick website. Like if there's just something specific I need that they have for a decent price, I'll get it from there. And I'd say Bricks and Pieces is probably at the bottom of that list. I'm starting to use it a little bit more. Like it probably might be the case where I'd switch the bottom 3 and 4. But I mean, Bricklink covers most of what I need to do, and the other 3 are just like very specific scenarios. Final question comes from Jace M. He says, have you ever thought about buying sealed sets as an investment? Ooh, this is a good question. So I know a lot of people do this. I know a lot of people sit on Lego sets with the hopes that they'll get super expensive down the line and they can make a fortune off of them. That's personally just not something I see myself doing. I think, one, the Lego aftermarket is ridiculous. I mean, it's not the fault of the sellers, right? Like, people are only going to pay what they think something is worth. So, I mean, that's definitely a big part of it. But the resale market is just so insane, and I don't think it helps any of us to have to be spending so much money on Lego after it's retired. So I'd rather just not feed into that. I also think that if you're trying to like invest your money, there are much better ways to do it than buying Lego sets. I get why people do it, but it would just feel wrong for me to try to feed into that Lego retirement aftermarket, because I know I really don't enjoy spending absurd amounts of money on Lego after the fact, and the community would just be a better place if that wasn't the case. But I mean, what can we do about that? But that's gonna finish up the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out your questions answered. You know the drill. Once again, post your questions in the comment section below. Check back next week to see if you make the cut. Also, if you like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.